Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Aggie Experience Live. Congratulations to you and everyone admitted to UC Davis. You are going to make a great class of 2024. We're happy you and your families are joining us. I'm Katerina Contreras, proud Aggie alumni, class of 2014. And this is my puppy, Winston. He's wearing some swag right now, and we're going to be giving away swag today. All this week, we're showing you things I think will make you even more excited about becoming a UC Davis Aggie. Today, we're tackling 3 topics. First, it's a thing everybody wants, but also finds a little scary: financial aid. First in English, then both in Spanish and English. Later, we'll introduce you the AB 540 and Undocumented Student Center, and we are recording it all. So if you miss a segment or you just want to see it again, no problem. You can watch it at ucdavis.edu/Aggie Experience. But wait, there are more online resources. If you have a follow-up question about admissions, don't miss our chat session after this. Chat with live admission advisors starting at 5:15 at ucdavis.edu/QA. And if you have questions on just about anything, including the topics covered here today, you'll find answers galore at ucdavis.edu/experts. Winston may be answering some questions too. And if you're watching live, you can submit questions using the Zoom Q&A button on your screen, right there, right below. Feel free to follow and engage your fellow viewers in the chat. And in just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to financial aid experts. But first, I'm going to play you a only 2-minute video intro. Please, please, please bear in mind, we are trying to manage a whole new technology and internet reality. So if you experience a little lag, please be patient and kind in your comments. That's what Winston wants, okay? So we have to be nice and patient, and let's get to the video.
Hi everyone, it's Katrine here. I know finances can be a really big part of the decision of where you go to school. For me, personally, I've been very, very grateful and fortunate to have a couple scholarships from Davis, which has really helped me.
Hi everyone, my name is Spencer Dong. Just know there's a bunch of scholarships. We have scholarships every year. I would highly recommend to look for that. Also, another tip if you want to save money in general, keep your GPA up. A lot of scholarships also have minimum requirements, so you do have to be a GPA eligible.
Hello, I'm Jackie. I'm a third year here at UC Davis. As a first generation college student, I found it quite difficult to understand how financial aid works. The UC Davis Financial Aid and Scholarships Office was really helpful in explaining how your financial aid worked, how tuition and charges. They were also very helpful in helping me get the documentation that I needed to get a flexible work-study job on campus.
Hello, my name's Fernanda. Just this last quarter, I had a lot of questions about a financial aid appeal form, and I asked one of the financial aid officers. She was very helpful, very understanding, and compassionate.
The financial aid office has been extremely helpful and always available to answer any questions that I have.
So I encourage anyone that needs any clarification about financial aid or just has questions to go ahead and reach out to the UC Davis financial aid staff.
Congratulations, class of 2024. You finally did it. You're in the most prestigious university.
Alrighty, and we're back. Okay, so first up, financial aid in plain English. Here to take some of the stress out of financial aid are our expert panelists. From the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships, please welcome Financial Aid Officer Pauline Moreno and Aggie student Leo Flores. It's gonna take just a second. They're gonna pop on up here. Hello, we're gonna wait for them, ask them all these questions. And I do want to remind everyone to submit your questions in the Zoom Q&A or Facebook Live. We wanna answer your personalized questions. Pauline, Leo, hello, how are you?
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
We're doing good. We have a lot of questions already, but first, I'm going to kick it off with Pauline. Okay, Pauline, what is the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships all about? You just give us that rundown.
Well, I was looking at the video that you just played, and I think it was perfect, explaining what we do. We're here to help students not only better understand their financial aid options, but better make decisions financially while pursuing their educational goals.
Amazing. And Leo, I'm assuming you applied for financial aid. What was that like? And how did the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarship help you?
Yeah, so prior to even submitting my application to UC Davis, I applied for financial aid. Throughout the summer, I did contact the financial aid office to seek help in regards to what next steps I would need to take in regards to receiving my financial aid. Yeah.
Okay, and so Pauline, how should students read their financial aid award?
How?
Yeah.
Well, they will have access to their financial aid offers through My Awards. That can also be, or the link can also be located on the financial aid website. However, when they're logged into their financial aid awards page, they will be able to locate not only the cost of attendance that shows them the anticipated cost for their first academic year, but also see the offered aids or offer awards that will go towards that cost of attendance. The offered aid will be a combination of potential gift monies and or loans. And at that point, the student will be able to compare that aid to the cost or the fees and decide whether there is any remaining need there that they need to pursue any additional offered aid for.
Got it. Okay, so Leo, there's often confusion about the difference between work study, grants, and loans. Can you lay this out for us so we have a better understanding?
Yeah, so it was pretty confusing as well to me when I started at Davis. So we have the loans, which are offered through the university through federal aid as well. So the loans are based, obviously, money that has to be paid back at a later time. Most of the loans have to be paid like after you completely finish your education, which is great. And then in regards to the grants, that's money that's given free to students to help alleviate the cost of attendance for their schooling or their education. So therefore, this money doesn't have to be returned to any institution or the government. And then we do have the work study. So the work study is also federal aid given to students that have the need base and are able to use those funds towards having a job on campus or off campus as well.
Okay, and so how is the expected family contribution calculated?
I can jump in.
Pauline, yeah. Sorry, I missed it. Whoever.
No, it's okay. I was like, oh, me. So the expected family contribution, or EFC as it's commonly referred to, is the amount anticipated that the family can help out with towards the education. This calculation is done either through the application or DREAM Act application, whichever application you were qualified to apply for. There's a lot of different factors when it comes to calculating that family contribution. Factors like household size, assets. What we will do is we will take that family contribution and we will compare it to the cost of attendance. And in some cases, that family contribution is lower than the cost of attendance, and that difference is need. At that point, we're able to offer students need-based aid like potential gift monies or subsidized loans, which are the loans that don't accumulate interest while in school. However, loans are optional. Keep that in mind. You're not required to accept them in the event that you are offered them. And in some cases, the family contribution exceeds the cost of attendance. And in those cases, there may not be any room for need-based aid. However, there will still be offered aid like loans or merit-based scholarships potentially to help out with that cost of attendance.
Okay, and so Pauline, does the campus offer other services like budgeting tools or even a financial wellness program?
Yes, we absolutely do. We call it the Aggie Blue to Gold Financial Aid Wellness Program.
Woo.
And yeah, exciting. You'll be able to find a link on our financial aid website. So please, if you haven't already, visit. But it is a year-round program where we are continually reaching out to students and assisting them with wellness, not only, managing money or better understanding their financial aid, but sometimes also fun things like going out into the Quad Center right before finals and providing snacks and helpful tools. We also have an event that we started annually a couple years ago called BudgetCon, where it is a conference that we invite a lot of other other departments who have really great resources to our event, where students can go to one hub for the day and collect additional information and some swag and just learn a lot of tools on how to better manage their money. That way, once you're done with your education, you're in a better financial place.
I love it. There's so many different options and ways to get help at UC Davis. And we actually have a lot of questions coming in. So we're going to answer some of these personalized questions. And if you have a question, feel free to drop it right into that Zoom Q&A at the bottom of your screen. First up from Aiden. So Aiden wants to know, can you apply for work study for multiple years or for later in college?
Aiden, yes, you can apply multiple years in the event that you're eligible. So one really kind of similar thing I want to throw in here is every year you're attending school, you're going to want to continue filling out your financial aid application. Mm-hmm. That financial aid application will allow us to see if you have need for each year. And in the event that you have need for each year, you can continue pursuing work study for the years that you're attending school.
Oh, perfect. Okay. We have another question. This one is specifically for Pauline. We will get to you, Leo, I promise. This is from Brittany. How does a student get a job on campus if they don't have work study?
Oh, good question.
Good one.
Brittany, I would first encourage you, even though maybe you haven't already applied for financial aid, please do so. Often students anticipate what they're already going to be eligible for and choose not to pursue their financial aid offers. So that would be the first step, is apply for financial aid anyways, even if you anticipate what you're going to be eligible for. But I am just pulling up a resource. Please forgive me, because either way, there is a website where you can go in and some work study resources like all around campus, and that would be at icc.ucdavis.edu/find/resources/handshake. But again, the first step is to apply for your FAFSA or DREAM Act application. In the event that there are any international students, there's also work study work programs available for that population as well.
Question for Leo. This is a question of mine, because I felt like when I first joined UC Davis, I felt very intimidated. Could you give some advice to some students that do feel intimidated or may feel like I'm not even going to bother because I don't qualify, or they feel nervous, how you went about that?
Yeah, so I was kind of that same situation when I came to Davis. I wasn't very sure whether I would be able to apply for financial aid. However, the financial aid office does offer a lot of resources where the students can submit their questions or their concerns. You don't have to go in precisely in person to speak to someone in regards to your financial aid. If you don't feel so comfortable asking your questions in person, we do UC Davis does offer the Contact an Expert portal, where students can submit their questions through there, and then someone at the financial aid office will respond. You can also give phone calls to the financial aid, and anyone is willing to take your calls there as well.
Amazing. So it's very simple, so anyone can get their questions answered,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to show up and ask those questions. We have a few more questions for either one of you. Let's see, from Kiana. Kiana wants to know, when are the financial aid disbursement dates and when are the payment dates? Pauline, Leah?
Yeah, I'm on. So first half, disbursement dates. So disbursement dates typically happen 10 days before instruction. However, you might find that the actual fees are due about a month before instruction. So that there's a little confusion about that for sure. What happens is your accepted aid for that term is recognized and put towards the fees. However, if your accepted aid for that term is not enough to cover the fees of that term, at that point, you'll want to be aware of when that fee deadline is, which is roughly about a month before instruction, and make a reference on how you will be covering that. In some students' cases, they set up payments. In other students' cases, they consider offered aid not already taken action on, like those offered loans. There was a second part of that question. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
The payment dates.
Oh, payment dates.
Yeah.
So payment dates, I don't have the specific dates memorized, how they change yearly. However, when you visit our financial aid website, you'll be able to locate an important date section that'll provide you more information.
Perfect. UC Davis just makes it so simple. I love it. Okay, we have plenty of questions. All right, Christopher wants to know, if I don't turn 18 until after the fall term starts, will I not get financial aid for that term?
Christopher, no, that's not the case. You will be offered financial aid. Again, making sure that you've submitted your financial aid application as early as possible before the priority deadline. You will be offered aid. So nothing to worry about there.
Oh, that was a myth. We're mythbusters up here. Another question from Anonymous. So I am an H-4 visa and I'm not eligible for FAFSA or DREAM Act as I have a valid visa and no social security number. Do I get any financial aid?
So for this student, or for Anonymous, you could potentially be considered for scholarships or outside gift monies. I would encourage you definitely, if you haven't already, start looking for as much gift money as possible. On the financial aid website, we do have a link to some outside scholarship resources. In addition, there is a possibility for you to be qualified for some alternative loans to assist where those outside awards or scholarships weren't able to cover.
Perfect. There we go. We have another question from Anonymous. Are there any specific scholarships that out of state students can apply to? So specific ones, yeah? Leo was shaking his head. He was ready.
Yeah, so the UC Davis Department of Prestigious Scholarships does offer some scholarships to students that can be considered out of state. However, that application is automatically considered for whenever a student submits their application to UC Davis. So then whenever you apply to UC Davis, then you should be considered for those. And these are all based on your merits, so.
There it is. Boom, boom. Making it easy. All right, we have more questions. We have some hot questions right now. So, and I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. I believe it's Rita wants to know, have merit-based scholarships come out yet? I called the financial aid office and they said merit-based scholarships are coming out throughout April.
That's correct. So not all scholarships have been posted yet. We're working on it continually and we hope to have those posted within about 2 to 3 business weeks.
Perfect. Love it. Another question from Victoria. Say if we get more financial aid than we need, what happens to the money that we don't use?
Good question. So Victoria, and to all you out there, what will happen is your aid will disperse quarterly. So for that particular quarter, if the aid is enough to cover all fees and there's any remaining, then that goes to you. And then you use it to manage your personal expenses.
Oh, wow. Love that. Another question from Isabella. Do I need is it DACA or do you say DACA? Do you say DACA?
DACA?
DACA, okay. Do I need a DACA certification in order to work study? And what if I'm not a DACA student?
So, Leo, jump in if I'm missing some details. But it'll go back to a couple of questions ago. There are work study opportunities for all students, whether it be FAFSA filers, the DREAM Act filers that are under DACA, or international students. As for the certification specific, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that unless Leo can jump in.
Yeah, so I believe you do have to have like a valid work permit where it establishes that your social security number is valid for the terms of your DACA. So in order to be receiving, I believe, the work study funds, you do have to have a valid social security number at the time.
Okay, I think we have one last question coming in just a second, but I do want to remind everyone to get those questions in that Q&A. We are doing our best to answer everyone. All right, last question. Am I able to decline loans? If so, how do I do that?
Yeah. I can go ahead and answer that. Yeah, so for your loans, so there's different types of loans that are going to be offered to you as a student throughout your years at Davis. So some students can receive the Parent Plus loans. Those have to be taken out by your parents. And then you have your student loans, which are the federal subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans, as well as university student loans. So these loans are offered to you throughout your years at Davis. You do have the option to decline them right at the beginning of the school year, or you can decline them throughout the school year. It doesn't affect you receiving financial aid in any way. They're always going to be offered to you. So if later in the year you decide that you want to take the money, then you can go ahead and process the loans. But having them offered on your awards package, you can decline them already if you're not thinking of processing them. However, let's say you have like a family hardship later on in the school year, you're always able to request them once again.
Oh, perfect. I love that. Last question for Pauline, just in case we didn't answer some of those Q&As and I still want those Q&As to be dropped in there. Where can students go to answer those questions? Maybe even about individual circumstances.
Well, so for financial aid, we package students on a general package, and we're also packaging students based on their financial aid applications that often ask about income from 2 years ago. And we all know that a lot can happen in 2 years. So for those students who have a special circumstance that they would like us to consider, we most definitely will. We have an appeal season that opens roughly October 1st, where some of the appeals that are commonly used are the expected family contribution appeal or family contribution appeal, where some students will share with us, this is what I had to report on my family's income for 2 years ago, but this is what it is now, and we're needing help, more help now than we did 2 years ago. So that is an option for our students to appeal that so that we can view what current circumstance a family is experiencing. There's also the additional expense appeal, because the cost of attendance is an amount that we feel fits an average scenario. We know that there is going to be some scenarios where students need more assistance, or it doesn't quite fit their expenses. And so those additional expense appeals will allow us to review the student's particular expense and verify if they are allowable to increase the current budget in hopes that we can offer students additional financial aid assistance.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Pauline, Leo. That was incredible. And thank you so much for joining us here at Aggie Experience Live. We will see you later. I know you'll be answering questions right when you hop off here. So thank you. And next up, we're going to cover financial aid again, but this time in both Spanish and English, except my Spanish is not muy bien. So I'll be relying on my guests to not only answer questions, but also be my translators. And that should be exciting. But first, I know from experience that Aggie's like UC Davis swag. And I know I see Socorro there. In just a second, I'm gonna announce you, I'm gonna introduce you. But I wanna show some UC Davis swag. If you want swag, I wanna see that comment section just blow up with swag right now so I can tell you how you can get it. I'm gonna put on my crown right now. Oh, there we go, swag. Everyone's so excited. Yes. All right, so if you want some, let me just show you really quick. So I have my pom-pom here. We have a mug. We have another mug. Oh, wait, let me show you this one. We have, look at this, it's a prize pack. We have prize packs to give away. And if you want some clothing, this is probably my favorite sweatshirt. I don't know, I don't see enough messages saying swag right now. We gotta keep it going. Notebooks, my other favorite thing. Look, it's a pillow, can you see it? It's a huge pillow, it's so soft. Okay, I see it, swag. So I'm gonna tell you how to do it right now. You have to fill out our Google form for a chance to win free branded goodies. So find the link in the Zoom chat. And now I just made it difficult for you guys because y'all are typing in swag, but the link is in there too, so look for it. Fill out that link. And now I am ready to practice my Spanish, or, you know, at least my Spanish comprehension. I'm going to take off my crown. Maybe I'll give you one of my crown. Who wants the crown? I'll give that to you in a second. All right. So with us today from the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships, Financial Aid Officer Socorro Hernandez and Aggie student Leo. Leo's coming back. Leo Flores, welcome. Hi, Socorro. How are you?
Doing good. How are you? Bien.
Good. I know you were so excited to hop on here to get swag. I know that's why you showed up early. You're like, I need to get that swag. Leo, I said I was going to see you later, and you knew I was going to see you in like 30 seconds.
I'm back.
All right, so we're gonna start this off, but before we do, I wanna remind everyone, as you're filling out that swag form, listen up to Socorro and Leo, and if you have more questions about financial aid, drop those questions right in that Q&A right at the bottom of the Zoom screen, or you can even comment them on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook. Now, Socorro. We are going to be translating back and forth Spanish and English, so please bear with us. What is the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships all about?
Yeah, so I'll answer in between both English and Spanish. Okay. So la primera pregunta es, ¿de qué es la Oficina de Financial Aid y cómo les podemos ayudar? La Oficina de Financial Aid está disponible a los estudiantes que llenan la solicitud de FAFSA o DREAM Act para ayudarles a pagar el costo educativo para ir a la universidad. Le pedimos a estudiantes que llenen su solicitud cada año antes de la fecha del límite, el marzo 2, para que puedan recibir becas de mérito como scholarship, becas de necesidad, préstamos o hasta la oportunidad de empleo para poder pagar el costo. So for our students, the Financial Aid Office is available. We have a team of staff to help you cover those educational costs. We ask that students complete their FAFSA or DREAM Act by the March 2nd deadline each academic year so that you can optimize your eligibility for federal funds, state funds in the form of grant, university loan, or scholarship, or even work study. So our staff are here to help you if you have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Socorro. And Leo, again, I asked you this earlier, but I want you to run it back again. I'm assuming you applied for financial aid. What was that like, and how did the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarship help? And Socorro will translate that first too.
Y Leo, ¿puedo presumir que aplicaste para recursos financieros de la oficina aquí en Davis? Si sí hiciste eso, ¿cómo fue tu experiencia? Y nos puedes decir más sobre eso.
Yeah, so whenever I applied to UC Davis, prior to submitting my application and then before receiving my acceptance letter, I did apply for financial aid through FAFSA or either DOTACA or California Dream Aid application. So through this, I was able to apply for financial aid. I did have to input my parents' information for their taxes and stuff like that, and their income. And then later on throughout the summer, I was able to reach out to the financial aid office to seek assistance in regards to my awards package. Um,
Yes.
sí.
Okay. Voy a traducir. Dijo Silvio que él sí completó la solicitud de California Dream Act porque para recibir sus fondos y luego en el verano sí llamó a nuestra oficina para agarrar más información sobre de los recursos que le estábamos ofreciendo. Y luego después empezó a recibir los recursos y la ayuda que necesitaba para poder venir a la universidad.
Thank you so much. Leo, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, that's
And question for Socorro, how is the expected family contribution calculated? Let's go over that one more time.
Yeah, así que ¿cómo está calculada la contribución familiar? Cada persona que llena la solicitud, sea la FAFSA o la Dream Act, va a llenar y darnos datos para poder determinar cuánto le podemos ofrecer. Así que meten los ingresos que ganaron hace 2 años pasados. Eso incluye beneficios si uno se ha retirado o seguro social. También pedimos información sobre cuántas personas viven en el hogar y cuántas de esas personas van a ir al colegio. El gobierno colecta esa información para decirnos cuánto puede contribuir la familia por un año. Después nosotros tomamos ese resumen para determinar el costo aquí en Davis y cuánto podemos ofrecerle a la familia para cubrir esos costos. So the FAFSA and the California Dream Act do collect information from families to calculate the expected family contribution, which is a methodology created by the government. Families will provide income information from work earnings. It could be retirement, Social Security. We'll ask for family size and any investments. And that's how families determine what the expected family contribution will be for that qualifying year. Every school will get the EFC calculation, and then they'll provide you a different award package based on what the cost is at that school. So if you're going to school, maybe a private school that's a lot more expensive, the EFC will be the same, but the amount of aid can differ from campus to campus. But we're all using the same formula to determine how much we can help you with each year.
Okay, so what if my family's financial situation changes between now and when I start school?
Yeah. So, ¿cómo me puede ayudar la oficina de Financial Aid si hay un cambio en los ingresos de mi familia de la fecha que completé la solicitud a cuando empiece la escuela? Lo que pueden hacer las familias es si hay un cambio drástico en los ingresos o si hubo un cambio en el matrimonio, nos pueden llamar y en el empiezo de octubre tendremos una solicitud donde nos puede decir cuáles sucedieron en los cambios, nos puede probar información sobre los ingresos que tendrán en el año nuevo y podemos hacer un resumen nuevo para ver cómo se le va a cambiar la ayuda que pueden recibir. So for families, if there is a change between the time that you reported income from 2 years ago and when you start in the fall, there will be an appeal that's available in October called an expected family contribution appeal. So families will be able to fill out the appeal, let us know what those changes were, and then we can do a recalculation in order to help students. Students and families can visit our website now. We do have what's called an EFC calculator for families to start inputting that data and get an idea of how those changes could be seen for the upcoming year to decide if you want to submit that request.
Okay. Again, I just love it. I love that you're very prepared for all these questions and you're able to, UC Davis is creating these tools so then we can help everyone as quickly, as efficiently as possible. Leo, I think this question may be for you. We will see if we can answer it. How does the Blue to Gold program work and how do I know if I have received it?
Okay. Y esta pregunta es para Leo y ¿nos puedes decir más sobre el programa Azul y Dorado, Blue and Gold, que tiene la universidad? ¿Qué es ese programa y qué ofrece?
Yeah, so the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan for students is basically the awards package for students offered for the academic school year. So you're able to be part of it, or you're automatically given that award package in a way by submitting your FAFSA or DREAMED application. It's basically given to students whose family contribution, their EFC is typically under 15,000, I believe. And then basically it's given to you on a basis, I believe, up to 4 years, I believe.
Sí, so el programa de azul y dorado es para familias que llenan la solicitud antes de la fecha de límite. Vamos a revisar el paquete de Financial Aid para ver si es elegible. Si es elegible, verá que le vamos a ofrecer ayuda para que pueda pagar la matrícula, que es como de $12,500. Y nosotros vamos a poner en su paquete de Financial Aid que fue elegible para el recurso de Blue and Gold. Lo que verá es que el resumen total de las becas que le estamos ofreciendo va a poder cubrir el base de esa matrícula que se le está cobrando por el año. El programa es elegible por 4 años para personas que renuevan la solicitud antes de la fecha de límite, y es el 2 de marzo.
Perfect. So we have some questions from the audience. This one is from Anthony, either Leo or Socorro, either one can take it. So from Anthony, do you need to apply for financial aid to receive scholarships?
Y la pregunta es, ¿tienes que meter una solicitud para poder recibir becas tipo scholarship? So for our scholarships, we do ask students that they file an application, but you're not required to have one on file to qualify for merit-based scholarships that are based on GPA and academic works. As said earlier by Pauline and Leo, once you apply for admission to UC Davis your first year, that's your initial application for eligibility. And if you're awarded a scholarship, you'll receive a notification either through email or through My Awards for those who filed a FAFSA. The second year, it'll be a little different. So our entering class during their fall period will apply for their sophomore year so that they can apply for on-campus scholarships. La pregunta que hicieron es si tengo que meter una solicitud para poder recibir becas tipo scholarship. Nosotros sí recomendamos que llenen la solicitud, pero no es necesario para recibir becas tipo scholarship de mérito que revisan el GPA o citas que han sido académicamente. Los estudiantes, si reciben una beca tipo scholarship de nuestra oficina, recibirán correo electrónico, y si llenaron la solicitud, mirarán esa scholarship que está ofrecida en el paquete.
And Leo, I asked this before, but I really want to reiterate it again because you went through all of this. And so that might sound a little bit intimidating, what Socorro just said of how to find it, you know, when you're applying. Could you elaborate a little bit? Was it that difficult, or did you have a pretty easy time locating everything?
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. I may be honest with you. Moving on from a high school to the university now, it's a pretty scary thing to do. So most of the times we do rely on like our parents and stuff, but now going on to the university, you kind of want to grow up and move from that. So then going off of that, I did have trouble reaching out to the financial aid office at times, but that was just mainly because of me being scared of reaching out to other people when I had my parents would always do that for me. But in regards to receiving assistance from the financial aid office, they were very helpful in regards to my situation and to anybody's situation. The financial aid office does have many resources or any portals where students can submit their questions. So everybody has a different situation in regards to their financial aid package. UC Davis does cater to everybody. So any particular questions that you may have, you can either visit our office. Obviously, we can't do that right now because of the current situation that we're all living through. But UC Davis does have a portal where students can submit their questions, and then someone at the office will answer them. I believe the phone lines are also available right now. So then students can also reach out to the office by giving them a call.
Perfect.
Y Kat le preguntó a Leo, como un estudiante, tú fuiste por todo esto en el empiezo de tu año. ¿Cómo fue tu experiencia? ¿Fue fácil o difícil comunicarte con la oficina de Financial Aid y cómo fue tu entendimiento de todos los recursos que estaban disponibles. Leo dijo que de primero sí era un poco difícil reconocer todo lo que se le estaba ofreciendo. De principio tuvo un poco de intimidación llamando a la oficina de recursos financieros porque como un estudiante llegando de la secundaria al colegio, muchos de los estudiantes todavía están esperando que sus papás les puedan ayudar con mucha información que está disponible, pero dijo que ya que él nos llamó a nuestra oficina, pudo recibir mucha información sobre los recursos, las personas que le ayudaron tenían la información que necesitaba y escucharon todos los cambios y todas las preguntas que tenía para poder ayudarle. Dice que hay muchas maneras de comunicarse con la Oficina de Recursos Financieros. Una es por correo electrónico. Dice, ahorita es difícil, no puede ir uno a la oficina porque con COVID-19 es difícil, las oficinas están cerradas, pero ahorita los números de teléfono están disponibles, las líneas están abiertas. Así si uno gusta hablar, puede llamarnos al área 530-752-2390 y se puede comunicar con una persona por teléfono o mandarnos correo electrónico y la oficina les va a responder y ayudarles con su pregunta.
Thank you so much, Socorro. We have a few more questions from Anonymous. Would CalFresh affect our financial aid situation?
Y la pregunta que tienen es si aplico para el programa de CalFresh, ¿cambiarían mis fondos que están ofrecidos por la oficina de Financial Aid? No, cuando uno llena la solicitud de CalFresh, no va a cambiar la ayuda que le estamos ofreciendo aquí en la universidad. El programa CalFresh es un otro recurso que ayuda a los estudiantes para que puedan recibir fondos para comprar su alimento diario. Así que nosotros ayudamos porque la oficina va a pedirles información sobre su paquete de recursos financieros para poder determinar si pueden calificar para CalFresh. Leo, I'll let you answer in English.
Yeah. So applying for CalFresh does not affect any way your opportunity for financial aid through UC Davis. So this CalFresh, it's an outside source by the federal government to assist students in regards to being able to find or receive any income to receive towards their groceries. And then whenever students apply for it, so we actually work along with an office on campus, which is called Aggie Experience. Through this office, they send verification forms that the students may be working along with their caseworkers. And then the financial aid office works with certifying that the information is correct or that the student is receiving financial aid in order for the student to be able to apply for the CalFresh program.
Perfect. Thank you both. We have more questions coming in right now. And again, if you do want to enter some of your questions, write in that Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom screen. This one is from Jacqueline. Do you have to commit to UC Davis before applying to scholarships?
Y Jacqueline quiere saber si uno tiene que decidir que va a venir a la Universidad de Davis antes de ser ofrecido becas tipo scholarship. No, you do not need to submit your intent to register to be considered for scholarships. Our scholarship team is reviewing applications and awarding the offer out there. If you decide that you are not going to come to UC Davis, then of course all your awards are canceled here and the college that you decide to go to would fund you there. Hopefully we're one of your first choices. That's why you're here listening to us. So la pregunta es si tiene que uno decidir venir a Davis para recibir becas tipo scholarship y no tiene que decidir venir a Davis para recibir esas ofertas tipo scholarship. Nuestro departamento de scholarships va a poner esa oferta en su paquete de financial aid y ustedes pueden decidir si quieren venir aquí o no cuando vean ese paquete. Si deciden que no van a venir aquí, se cancelan todas las ofertas que se dieron porque van a tener un paquete nuevo en la otra escuela, pero como están aquí con nosotros, esperamos que UC Davis sea su primera escuela.
Yes, that's why we're here right now.
Yes.
I love it. We still have some more questions right now. This one is from Zara. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Zara is asking, are scholarships or grants still open for admitted students?
So la pregunta es si todavía hay becas y becas tipo scholarship que están disponibles para nuestros estudiantes. Leo?
Yeah. So the grants and scholarships offered to students should be available to students. Um, well, in order to be considered for them, you had to apply for your FAFSA or California Dream Aid application, and then scholarships are always available to students. But in regards to the ones offered through UC Davis, like the merit-based ones, I don't think students can apply to those yet. Or as like I said earlier, students that submitted their application to UC Davis were automatically considered towards the merit-based scholarships. However, students can always look into outside scholarships from the university in order to receive them. And then grants, I believe the financial aid office is still working in regards to having the awards packages for students. So they are still going to be considered for those.
Sí, para los estudiantes que metieron la solicitud, si todavía no han metido una solicitud de recursos financieros, todavía lo pueden hacer para recibir becas tipo de bajos ingresos. La solicitud tenía que estar completada antes de el 2 de marzo, así que si faltaron la fecha límite, todavía pueden meter la solicitud para ver si hay unos recursos disponibles. Para las becas de mérito, porque no requieren tener una FAFSA, todavía van a poder recibir ofertas sobre esas. Nomás tendrían que esperar que el grupo que está revisando las aplicaciones le pueda hacer una oferta y mandarle correo electrónico para decirle que recibieron la oferta para que la tomen o deciden si no la quieren tomar.
Thank you, guys. Another question from Anonymous. Do you get the same amount of financial aid each year?
Y la pregunta es, si llenan la solicitud de recursos financieros, ¿reciben la misma cantidad de recursos cada año? When you're filing a renewal, it could change depending on income. If your parents' income, assets, household size remain the same, then you could see a similar aid package from year to year. It could change a little bit if you change your housing option. If you're on campus, it's more expensive. Off campus, it's about $5,000 cheaper. So there could be a change there. If you did have a drastic change in income, let's say one year you were following year it was less, then you that the aid package changed slightly because the family contribution is now lower since you're not able to contribute as much as you did in the prior year. So it could vary depending on housing, income changes, family size, and that's going to be calculated each year on the FAFSA. Cada año que llenen la solicitud, van a decirnos si los ingresos son iguales, si han cambiado, si hay una diferencia en las personas que viven en el hogar, si tienen nuevas inversiones para ver qué va a ser la calculación EFC. Si hay cambios drásticos, puede ser que el recurso de Financial Aid cambie un poco, pero si los ingresos, la cantidad de personas en la casa, si todo se queda igual, puede ser que reciban un paquete de recursos financieros que esté casi igual de año por año. Así que todo va a depender en qué cambios hay cuando llenan la solicitud.
Thank you, Socorro. This question, it's from Anonymous, and we answered it a little bit in the last panel. I think we have a few questions about work study and finding a job. So my son received financial aid and work study. How does that work? Is it easy, and how will he find a job?
Okay. Y la pregunta es, mi hijo recibió recursos financieros y una oferta de empleo de trabajo. ¿Cómo funciona eso? ¿Es difícil o fácil encontrar trabajo y dónde lo puede encontrar? For our financial aid package, if you're offered work study, your student will look on the Internship and Career Center to look for a job opening that is work study. That has a work study kind of designation on it. The student, just like any other employment, whether it's work study or not, will go to a job interview. They'll provide information showing that they are eligible for work study. And then if they receive a confirmation that they've been offered that job, then the department works with the university in order to pay that student financial aid through the work study program. So the employer will be paying the student salary every 2 weeks, depending on the number of hours that they do. When they receive that paycheck, they're going to use it to pay for either books and supplies, living expenses that they're going to have during the academic year. Cuando el estudiante tiene una oferta de work study, ellos van a tener que inscribirse en el sitio de empleo que se llama ICC para buscar un empleo que dice que es tipo work study. Cuando ellos metan esa solicitud, les van a pedir que tengan una confirmación que tienen work study con la oficina de Financial Aid. Si reciben un empleo, una oferta de empleo, luego el estudiante va a recibir un cheque cada 2 semanas que estén trabajando y usan esos fondos para poder pagar libros o para pagar el alojamiento, cualquier costo que tienen fuera de la universidad.
Thank you, Socorro. We have one more question. Everyone out there listening, if you are an international student, comment in the comment section in the chat, say international, because we have an international question from Ronit. Is there any scholarship opportunity for international students?
Y la pregunta es, ¿hay una oportunidad para recibir becas tipo scholarship para estudiantes clasificados internacional? Yes, there is an opportunity for international students to get scholarships. So when you did your admissions here at UC Davis, our scholarships team gets information from the admissions department to review each student to see if they're eligible and if we can award them scholarship based on merit. So it doesn't require a financial need. When you are reviewed, if you're eligible for a scholarship, you might get information from the scholarship team letting you know you have been offered this award. You'll respond to that email to say, yes, you're interested, and then that will be posted and help you cover those costs. Si es un estudiante internacional, cuando uno mete la solicitud para aplicar a Davis, nuestra oficina de scholarships empiezan a revisar todas esas solicitudes para ver si los estudiantes, sean residentes o estudiantes internacionales, pueden recibir las becas. Así que si reciben una oferta, van a recibir correo electrónico avisándoles de ese presupuesto para que lo puedan tomar.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Socorro. Thank you, Leo, for your time and for joining us. Remember, if you do have more questions, I know Socorro and Leo will be hanging out answering those, so make sure you're dropping in the Q&A. Again, thank you two so much. We will see you later. And one thing about UC Davis is that we love polls and surveys. They are great tools for finding out what people really care about and how we measure progress. And I want to know more about you, class of 2024, and that includes family members watching. Tell us whether you, the viewer, are an interested student, an admitted student, a parent, guardian, or other. So there's going to be a poll right now. It's going to pop up on your Zoom screen, or if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and type in those comments. So once that poll pops up, I want you to all, yep, there it is. So are you an interested student? Admitted. Yep, there we go. And in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about tomorrow's topics. Housing and dining. I was looking in the chats just a second ago and I saw so many questions about housing and dining. So tomorrow we are talking about that. Food and shelter, they're not just basic necessities, they're a huge part of your student experience. So we'll dive into what res hall life is like, what kinds of food you can find, and what it's like to live in Davis. All right, let's see. We have about 20 more seconds. So if you see that poll, we want to see where you are from. Who knows? We might be giving out more swag. You never know. I mean, I'm just letting you know, I have so much swag 24/7, just ready to give out. Let's see. I don't know. I need to see everyone answering this poll. So we have some interested students, admitted students. Do you guys like my crown? Everyone like my crown? All right, let's see, where are you? All right, poll is completed. I love it. A lot of admitted students, 252 admitted students. Interested students, 78. We have about 18 parents and guardians. Woo woo. Alumni, we have 1 alumni, 3 community members, 6 others. Well, thank you so much for taking the poll. And it's time for today's final topic. I think I have to take off my crown. I'll put it on later. I'm going to introduce the panelists in just a minute, but first we have a quick video intro. Let's roll that video.
is Valeria Blanco. I'm currently a second-year student here at UC Davis.
Hi everyone, my name is Alondra Alvarez.
Hi folks, this is Citlali from the EB 540 and Undocumented Student Center. My role at this center is High School Outreach Coordinator.
I also work at the AB 540 and Undocumented Student Center as the Basic Needs Coordinator.
We offer tons of resources, including a lending library, free legal immigration support, mental health programming, basic needs programming, such as our food voucher program, our snack station, our fresh produce, and undocumented pantry programs. We also have partners that host hours in our center in order to help students with specific questions such as a financial aid specialist, a writing specialist, our legal fellow, and our mental health counselors.
Positive memory that I have with this center is during midterm season when I was really stressed out and I came to this center to talk to people. They made me laugh and I felt ready to study again.
If you want to learn more about the resources and opportunities available through our center, check out our website at undocumented.ucdavis.edu.
Alrighty, let's introduce our panelists with us today from the AB 540 and Undocumented Student Center, Community Advocate and High School Outreach Coordinator, Citlali Hernandez, and UC Davis alumna and Community Advisor, Alondra Alvarez. They're gonna pop up here in just 1 second. There we go. Hi, Alondra, how are you?
Hi, I'm happy to be with you all.
Hey, in just a second, we're going to see Citlali. And I do want to remind everyone to submit your questions in the Zoom Q&A right at the bottom of the screen. There she is. Citlali, hi, how are you?
Doing great.
Great. We have so many questions. I have a lot of already personalized questions for you, but we're going to start out with Citlali. Can you tell me about how the AB 540 and Undocumented Student Center helps people?
Yeah, so I mean, the AB 540 Undocumented Student Center was basically founded by student activism. So thanks to students at UC Davis, we were able to get this center up and going in 2015. So we're only like 5 years new. We still have a lot of resources that we want to explore and even bring to our community. And so I mean, if we want to go into our programs, like the video mentioned, I think our biggest thing is that we offer free legal immigration services to our students and their immediate family members. So that includes like their parents, their siblings, and I think that's one of like our main unique resources that we have.
Amazing. That's so incredible that UC Davis offers that, something like that. And kind of spinning off of that, what are some common misconceptions about being an AB 540 student?
Yeah, so I can start with like, what is even AB 540? Yeah. And so basically, AB 540 is, you can be eligible for AB 540 if you've gone to a high school, a California high school for 3 or more years, or you've gotten the equivalent, which is a GED. And so basically what this allows you to do is to apply for in-state tuition instead of like outstate tuition. And so this honestly can apply to a variety of students, including undocumented students and out-of-state students who maybe grew up in California, they went to elementary school here or something, and then they moved to like North Carolina and then decided to come back. And so as long as they have those 3 years of schooling in California, they're able to qualify for AB 540. I don't know if Alondra wants to add anything else to that.
Yeah, so AB 540 is actually an assembly bill that was passed back in 2001. So it's not something that is just for our school, it's actually statewide. And there has been expansions on this program to allow students that are transferring from like a community college that maybe didn't get the 3 years of high school, but have 3 years in a community college, and they also have that high school diploma or GED. They're able to apply for this in-state tuition, which kind of lessens the amount that they pay in tuition for their time here at UC Davis. Cool thing is you only have to apply for the AB 540 status once, and then once you do that, it'll be on your record for the remainder of your time here at UC Davis.
Oh, that's so nice. Makes it So easy. And I know Sitlali touched on it just a little bit, but Alondra, could you go into it a little bit more about what resources the center offers?
Yeah, so we have a variety of resources. One of those that Sitlali did mention is the free legal resources. We also have a lending library that's actually sponsored by the ASUCD Dream Committee. So we provide students with books that they can check out for the entire quarter and not have to purchase and be able to return at the end of the quarter for other students to use in the future. We have mental health workshops with our CAN counselors, and we also have different types of holistic programs to not only touch on the financial needs of students, but also like their well-being, physical or emotional. We have what's known as our Undocumented Turtles, and this is a group of students that get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays and work out together. Currently right now, because of our COVID-19 situation, we're still trying to find ways to accommodate these programs to be done virtually. So I know that there's an intention for us to continue this workout together on Tuesdays and Thursdays through Zoom.
I love it. I love it. I am all about virtual fitness. And a little bit more, if someone was undocumented, how would they be able to fund their education?
Yeah, so one of the biggest ways is we strongly encourage you to fill out your DREAM Act application. The DREAM Act application would be kind of the equivalent to the FAFSA. So any student that doesn't qualify for FAFSA may or may not qualify for the DREAM Act application. So some students that would qualify for the DREAM Act application include undocumented students, DACA students, J and TU visa holders, and those with TPS status may qualify for DREAM Act. If you don't, there may be still other scholarships that you qualify for through our center. If you have your AB 540 affidavit in, and you also have your DREAM Act application on file with financial aid, we're able to provide different types of financial resources, such as a emergency grant, which allows students to receive funding in case of any type of emergency. We also have 2 scholarships that run through our center that are specifically targeted for the students with DREAM Acts on file and the AB 540 status. Those are both up to like $1,000 each, depending on financial aid package availability.
Amazing. And so we actually had an anonymous question that was, we have not heard from DREAM Act application. Is there somewhere that they can find that?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
Yeah, it says, we have not heard from DREAM Act application. Is there somewhere we can find this?
Yes, so if you go to the California website and you've already filled out your DREAM Act application, it's probably in the process of being processed. I know that there's been a lot of hiccups given this entire unprecedented situation, but usually you'll hear back from financial aid office with it in the same parameters that you would for anyone that filed the FAFSA. I know that you will have to create a web grants account for your Cal Grant, and that's usually the type of financial aid grant that you receive through the DREAM Act.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alondra. And another question that came in from Daniel, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I'm sure we have plenty of questions on this one, is what is the AB 540 form and what happens after a student actually sends one in, that process?
So when you submit your SII or your intent to register here at UC Davis, you'll receive a notification from our registrar that you need an AB 540 affidavit, and you can find it at the registrar's website. Once you fill it out, there's also an email on there that you will submit it to. So even though we have AB 540 on our name, we're not the office that processes it. And if you do send it in to us for some reason, we will direct you to the correct email address to be able to complete that process. And once again, once you fill that out this first time, you won't have to fill it out again for the remainder of your time here at UC Davis.
Awesome. And Sitlali, news, they change fast these days, as we are very well aware, especially with AB 540 and DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Any updates on these programs?
Yeah, so currently DACA is in a legal status of recession, which means that only returning applicants can renew their DACA, which is, a little bit upsetting, especially for undocumented students who are just entering college. Sometimes they may feel like, I don't have work authorization. Like, how can I make some money? What am I going to do after school? How am I going to repay my loans? And these are all very, very valid questions and concerns. And so what we have to say now is that we are waiting for the Supreme Court to make a decision sometime in June. And meanwhile, we're trying to support our students as much as we can, like Alondra said, through mental health workshops, through financial aid means. And we actually also have like an internship opportunity for our students. So regardless of work authorization status, we encourage all our students to apply. And basically, it's an opportunity to be an intern at our center, learn about how we advocate, how we outreach, and how we publicize everything that we do. And so that's kind of the update about that and how we're trying to support our students.
Okay, and see, Lali, I think this is a little bit of a follow-up, and it's one of our questions from our audience. It's from, and I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, Lian Juyi wants to know, are international students undocumented students? Is that the same thing?
I think,
yeah, Alondra can answer this.
so there's actually an international student center that is also based out of UC Davis. We ourselves don't necessarily work with a lot of international students because the bulk of the work for international students is done through the International Student Center. And you can always reach out to them with questions. And the reason being is that there's different parameters because usually international students have some type of student visa and our undocumented students don't have that visa or that legal status. And so the parameters within what we work with is a little bit different. So as an international student, you wouldn't qualify for AB 540. You wouldn't be able to fill out the DREAM Act application. So those are some of the things that we focus on. So I would strongly encourage you to reach out to the International Student Center. They would have more opportunities for you.
Okay, thank you so much. And for these ones are for either one of you to answer these questions. It's from our audience. And I know we went over this a little bit, but we keep getting the same question. So I think just explaining it so everyone has a really good understanding. It's anonymous. How do I apply for DACA? Are there any other financial aid or scholarships for undocumented students?
So DACA right now, so I'll go ahead and say what DACA is. So DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It is an executive order that was issued back in 2012 that provides a social security number along with a temporary protection from deportation and work authorization in the United States for qualifying applicants. Unfortunately, as Itlali mentioned earlier, right now it's in status of legal recession. So it means that currently the Homeland Security is not taking any new applications for this program. Only if you currently have a DACA status are you able to reapply and renew your DACA. So this is a document that needs to be renewed every 2 years, and there is a fee attached to it. Right now, because we have a pending Supreme Court case and we're waiting to see whether this program is going to be eliminated completely or not, we are strongly encouraging students that do have DACA status to renew as soon as possible, just so that you don't fall out of status. So that is what DACA is. So no, you cannot apply for DACA if you don't already have that status, unfortunately. This leaves a lot of our new incoming students without any type of DACA protection. So we have a lot of incoming students that are completely undocumented, and we acknowledge that, and we see you, we feel you, and we're working hard to provide opportunities for you within our center and within our campus to be able to fund your education, support you through your time here at UC Davis and beyond that.
Yeah, and just adding to what Alondra said, other programs that we offer are Speakers Bureau. So we have a panel of students who help us also outreach and kind of do what we're doing right now. And that would be paid through a stipend, which
reimburses you through your financial aid, in a way to say, just to keep it real simple. And so even though it's like not a work study job here on campus, it's a way we try to help our students. We also have a mentorship professional development program where it's kind of the equivalent of the McNair Scholars, if you ever heard of that. So basically we offer our students like a internship opportunity separate from our center. So it's with the faculty they would be interested doing research with, and that would also be paid through stipend as well.
And we have the opportunity of being a community advocate, just like Citlali here. These are the students that do the bulk of the work in our center, that do our publicity, marketing, outreach. They do administration and volunteer coordination. All of this is student efforts, because we were advocated by students, we're student run, and we try to continue to provide opportunities for students regardless of their legal status. So currently, actually, we're accepting applications for new community advocates for the 2021 academic school year. So if you go on our website, you'll find that application, and we strongly encourage anyone to apply.
Beautiful. Thank you. Another question. It's a little bit specific, but I think multiple people can benefit from it. Anonymous, for the state tuition, it's asking if I've lived in California for 3 years. I will be in May 13th, or I will be on May 13th, but the statement of legal residence form is due on May 1st. So how would I go about handling that? So the people that are almost in that limbo.
One, if you are graduating from a California high school, you will be able to qualify for AB 540 because it's within the month of May. If it asks for a specific date, you might be able to have that little wiggle room. I would strongly encourage you to reach out to our registrar's office or send us an email through our website, and we'll be able to work with you one-on-one depending on your case-by-case case-by-case basis, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have that website handy? We can read it.
Yes, so our website is at undocumented.ucdavis.edu.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Alondra, Citlali. Remember, if those questions were not answered, go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. We're going to be answering your questions the entire time. Thank you so much. We will see you two later. And thank you to all of our awesome panelists today. We appreciate you for joining us for Aggie Experience Live. Remember, join us for the rest of the week. It's the same place, same time. Tomorrow's topic, I know everyone is gonna love it. It is housing and dining. For details or to rewatch any of our episodes, you know where to go, ucdavis.edu/Aggie Experience. If you have a follow-up question about admissions, don't miss our chat session after this. Chat with live admissions advisors starting at 5:15 p.m. at ucdavis.edu/QA. And if you have questions on just about anything, including the topics covered here today, you'll find answers galore at ucdavis.edu/experts. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, we will be back tomorrow. And yes, I'll have Winston and I will have swag. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.